Hi, Stewart.
Hi, Anthea. How are you?
Hi, how you been?
Busy. Popping around.
I know. I've been reading your website, and it's been hopping over there too.
Yes.
So let me
True.
just take a look in the chat room. Okay. We got a good crowd. Oh wow.
All my peeps are there, huh?
No, I think one peep and everybody else is mine. Oh, okay. For people who don't know Stewart, I'm going to read your introduction here.
Mm-hmm.
A gifted mentalist, and yes, you are. And Stewart is a medical intuitive who was born clairvoyant and has the ability to see auric fields and personal archetypes, as well as read DNA sequences and mind patterns. And your great uncle, Yakov Swerdlow, how's my Russian?
No, not too good. Got to practice that one.
I know. I have a friend who's Russian, and I've tried to learn a little Russian words, but I can't get it.
Mm-hmm.
Was the first president of the Soviet Union, and his grandfather helped form the Communist Party in the United States in the 1930s. To ensure that Stewart's loyalties stayed with the U.S. government, he was recruited for Pacific mind control experiments that enhanced his natural abilities, and after spending years in service to various U.S. and foreign governments, Stewart has embraced his mission to serve others by helping them heal themselves, and you certainly do, I must say. So how was Romania?
Well, Romania was quite interesting. No main highways, no air conditioning, no elevators.
No elevators?
No, we have to walk up all kinds of flights of stairs.
Well, so they must be all very slender over there then.
Well, yeah, I guess so. It's very hot, and no screens on the windows, so I have a lot of mosquito bites.
I never pictured Romania being a hot place, though.
Well, it's in the southeastern part of Europe, right on the Black Sea, and doesn't rain very much in the summer, and it gets really hot.
Yeah, you were there at the same time our favorite programmed celebrity icon, Madonna. And
you know, I thought she was going to invite me to lunch, and nothing.
She's such a snob, and
I'm telling you.
And then she had the nerve to get up on the stage and chastise all the Romanian people about how they treat the
gypsies. Yeah,
the gypsies.
They were not happy. Yeah,
well, you know what it is. She doesn't appear to be a person who is sincere.
Well, you know, first of all, she came there to entertain, not give a political speech.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and so right away everyone was quite disappointed in that. And then, I don't know if you heard about it, but right before her concert, there was a car accident on the road leading to the area, and the car exploded and killed 4 people. And so to me, that was kind of a ritual sacrifice right before her show. And
they were concert goers, too.
Yes, and the thing is, that is what was on the news, not her concert.
No.
Yeah.
And then yesterday, Michael Jackson finally, after 70 days.
Right. That was an odd one, too.
Yeah.
You know, what were they doing with his body for all that time?
I hope they were keeping it in a refrigerator.
The freezer, I hope. But, you know, they had removed his brain, and I'm sure they were studying a whole bunch of stuff about him to see the effects of his programming on his physical body.
Really? Would something like that be, you could see that on the brain?
Yes, of course, and I'm sure that he had brain stem swelling and all kinds of scarring, and I'm sure, well, I think they still have his brain. I don't think they put it back in there, and they're probably studying that.
Really? Yes, because the reptilian brainstem, they scar that. I remember that from your classes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he was quite a mess, and you know, the doctor that they're blaming on his murder.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I think he's a setup. You know, he was a recent addition. They were paying him $150,000 a month to be his personal physician, and I find it hard to believe that he would just murder him and give up all that money.
Right. Well, now they're saying that he left the room to go to the bathroom, and in that 10 seconds that he was gone, that Michael Jackson might have taken some more pills while he wasn't looking.
Yeah, he was unconscious, so I don't think that happened.
Yeah, really. Yeah, I mean, that's right. I forgot about that. It would be.
Yeah. I mean, look, we'll never know the real story. There'll always be a cover story. But apparently LaToya, his sister, is very aware of what happened, and she's the one that blew the whistle in the first place.
That's right. But she did that over in the UK.
Smart girl, although it doesn't make a difference, really.
Yeah, I didn't think so.
No.
Okay.
A lot of stuff going on this last 2 weeks.
Did you get a lot of email for questions? Because I got a few.
Well, I referred all of them to you so that you could choose the ones that you would like.
Okay. Well, they can always ask in the chat room or call in later on. But, everyone's excited to talk about the Montauk Project. And when I first discovered you, I guess it was about 2 or 3 years ago, I came across your website. And the first 2 books I read was Montauk, The Alien Connection, and then Blue Blood, True Blood. And I have to admit that I really didn't know that much about the Montauk Project before I got to know you. But I live in New York City, and I know you used to live in New York. And I was telling you last time I spoke to you how my father was always wanting to go out to Montauk Point, which was one hell of a drive. What was it, about 100 miles from Queens?
Well, from where you live, it's over 100 miles.
For some reason, I don't remember going to these picnics to go see the lighthouse, but my mother remembers it, and she says there was a lot of bugs there. But I do remember in 1969 when I was a kid, and I'm not going to give away my age here.
You were like an infant then.
Yeah, I was almost an infant.
Yeah.
Almost. We went camping at Montauk on the beach, and I remember my sister was there, and I think my brother was there, and we watched the moon landing of Neil Armstrong. Somebody dragged a TV set out on the beach, and we watched right there.
I remember that day.
Yeah, I had a pretty good picture. I mean, little did I know that under all those picnic tables, all that darkness.
Way below.
Yeah, all that.
Well, in 1969. Montauk Project hadn't quite yet begun. That wasn't until 1970.
Yeah.
But the underground was obviously there, and they had been using it for other purposes, a little bit less sinister. But just a year later, it was underway, and it lasted for 13 years.
That's right. And that's when your adventure there started.
Yeah, that's when it happened, and to this day. There are things going on underneath there, but it's not the same as it was. Now it's more used for weather experimentation, weapons research, that kind of thing. And I don't know if you've been there recently, but I did a TV show there a couple of years ago. I think it was June of 2007. And they had knocked down all of the buildings except for the radar tower, which they had fenced in so you can't really get to it anymore. And they had made a park out of it.
That's nice.
But the interesting thing was there are signs all over the place that said, to be careful about what you might find on the ground or dig out of the ground because it might be explosive.
Oh, explosive. Yeah.
So if you see anything, so if you see anything, tell a park ranger and don't touch it.
Yeah, we're going to find landmines.
Well, you know what? They said there was all kinds of ordnance under there, and you just don't know what they're going to find.
That is bizarre.
It is bizarre, and they made a very pretty topping to this place, and if people knew what was underneath, they would be very concerned.
Because I remember you talking about how they have there was an antenna that looks like a Delta T that was on the front, and it kind of has a serpent look on it. And they used to try do mind control experiments, like send out stuff on the people that lived out there.
Yes, that's true. But you want to hear something, Anthea? That radar tower allegedly has been abandoned for quite some time. Like 30 years supposedly, and yet just recently people have been taking photographs of it, at different times, and the radar screen or the top of the radar, it has moved. And that's a very heavy object. I mean, that doesn't just blow in the wind. And so obviously it's been changed position somehow.
So what do you think? There's something still going on down there?
Well, yeah, obviously, and I think that is connected to the underground, and they're just refocusing it on whatever satellite that they need to focus on.
Yeah, because I know on your website there was a lot of people talking about having hot flashes in the middle of the night.
Yeah.
What's that going on?
Well, I'll tell you, I thought I was like dying of some rare disease because a couple of years now, especially in the last year, every night around 2-3 o'clock in the morning, I'd wake up feeling like I was in a microwave, hot, burning up, really, to the point where I almost couldn't breathe. And so I put it out on the website, because when I was in Romania, every night, several times a night I had these, worse than anywhere I've ever been. And so I put it out on the website. I think I might have put it in my newsletter. And I couldn't believe I'm getting so many responses on the Q&A of people all over the world, not just U.S., but all over, saying the same thing.
No,
So this can't be just an isolated thing. I mean, obviously it's a global thing where people, for whatever reason, are being bombarded, in my opinion, with microwave pulse.
Oh, I'm glad it didn't hit me. All the weird stuff happened to me. I used to hear in the middle of the night, it would be like 3 o'clock in the morning. I think I told you once, it sounded like a turbo jet. I mean, LaGuardia is not that far away, but they don't park their, the turbo jets outside my window. And a couple of times I went outside to see where it was and to see if any of the other neighbors were going to their windows to see, because it was loud. And it used to be like once or twice a month, but I haven't heard anything lately. So get that ringing in your ear, and
Well, that's another thing is you do get the ringing in the ear, and sometimes it's very high pitched. And I believe it's in my healer's handbook. I have an exercise where, when that happens, if you visualize a pale yellow line or cord from your inner ear where the ringing is occurring, and just let it go out and trace it, it'll end up to the source of where that's coming from.
I find that it disperses in the middle of the room, or sometimes it goes to the TV.
So then that could be a source of where it's coming from for you.
Yeah.
For me, it can go up to a satellite, it can go to an underground area, sometimes it just goes into space, all different sequences.
That's scary stuff.
Well, I mean, what we're about to experience on this planet is we have hardly seen anything yet. The most interesting is what's coming.
Yeah, I try to talk about some of these things that I've learned from you on the show. Mind control and programming, that took a while for it to sink in, because I couldn't really understand how it worked. Because most people say, I don't watch TV, so I'm okay. But it's more than that, and I try to tell them it's more than that. That the controllers of this planet, like, the Illuminati, them, the New World Order, whatever you want to call them, you had made a statement I thought was very good, because they created society, so and they've interwoven in that their mind control and programming, so that everything that you look at is going to affect you in some way or another.
Right, everything that's out there will trigger you into the program, especially now. Years ago it may not have been as pervasive as it is now, but these days you can't go anywhere without seeing some kind of a trigger. Even when you see those little bumper stickers on the car with those ribbons, and people think that that's being, loyal to the troops or to breast cancer or whatever the ribbon is for in that car. But that ribbon is a symbol of what we call a ribbon altar in the
really?
programming.
That's right. That's right. Ribbon altar, yeah.
Right, and the ribbon altar is like a little tattletale. It goes around looking at the different altar compartments, making sure they're doing what they're doing is right, and if not, it reports to the internal programmer for a correction to occur.
That's
so
right.
basically, when you see these ribbon altar stickers on cars, it's like making sure you're snitching on yourself and others, making sure they're staying in their programming.
And that too, and it also makes you think about breast cancer, and and then you have the bright yellow one for the troops and everything. It makes you so your mind is always on the war or what's happening to our soldiers.
And look at the wording that they use with that. For example, on the breast cancer thing, on the radio, for example, or on television, they'll say, "Make sure you support breast cancer."
Yeah.
Now, shouldn't I not support that? I mean, I don't want to support breast cancer. I want to get rid of it.
Yeah, because I do believe if you think about something, you can make it happen, you know.
Exactly, and so it's a reverse psychological statement where you think you're doing something to help prevent it, when in fact the words are making you enhance it.
That's true. That's true.
So people need to really think about what they're doing.
Any questions from the chat room? It's like it's moving so fast in here. Well, let me see. Oh, you know, the Montauk Chair. A lot of people have asked me about that. And every time I think about that Montauk Chair, I always think about the Forbidden Planet. Remember that movie?
Oh, yeah, with the robot.
With Walter Pidgeon, and Walter Pidgeon is this mad scientist all alone on this planet with his daughter. It was you know, it was supposed to be a science fiction version of The Tempest. And down below, he discovers this whole underground world, and there's that chair that he sat on, and he boosted his IQ, and he was able to form like a hologram or something in front of him. And, you know, monsters from the id type of thing. And so I always think of that chair. But that chair came from alien technology, right?
Yeah, Sirius A technology. And, of course, since then, the government has adapted it to their own uses and made little changes. But that's kind of old stuff these days. They can program a person just from satellite transmission. In fact, I was doing some research on that. If you go back to 1972 and you look in the congressional records, and I think it was in the middle of the year, there was Army representatives giving testimony in front of a congressional committee stating that there can be mind control waves that could piggyback human brain waves, and people think it's coming from their own thoughts, but they can be controlled. And they said that was back in 1972, in the beginning of the Montauk Project, and they were saying how vital that would be for national security. So that's 37 years ago, and that was being discussed.
Right, and that's from the ELF.
And they knew that even back then. And so you can just imagine what they've done since that time.
That's right. That's right. And I told you about the time down in Lower Manhattan. There was a billboard, and it had like a speaker on top of it, and it was a billboard for some paranormal show that was on cable. And when you walked by it, all of a sudden you heard a voice in your head going, "Turn around, turn around. Do you believe? Do you believe?" And you see all these people in the street just freaking out, you know, and this billboard was advertising in their heads.
That's really amazing.
That was amazing. That scared the hell out of me. And people hated it so much they kept ripping down this loudspeaker, and they had to keep putting it back up again. But who wants to hear a voice in your head?
I mean, is it still there?
You know, I haven't been down there in a while. I think it was on Broome Street. But I went down there. I was going to a bookstore, and I figured, you know, while I'm down there, let me check it out. But I haven't been down there since. But, yeah, you know. Oh, we have a question from the chat room. What does Stewart think, or what is his perception of the constant loud, high-pitched whistling in our ears?
Oh, that is ELF that you're hearing.
Right.
You know, that's one of the symptoms of the ELF, because what happens is that it's an extremely low frequency, and it keeps the inner ears, the bones, vibrating at a very high rate, and you get that humming or buzzing sound in there.
That's right. And if it's in the left ear, it's physical, right? It's coming from a physical
Correct.
source.
Yes.
And if it's in the right ear, it's coming from a non-physical source.
Correct. That's right.
Would that be from the astral level?
Yeah, because the government does use technology in the lower astral levels that can affect the physical. And of course, it's much easier to deal with things from that level because it's undetectable and very easily can be manipulated.
And how about people who claim they hear voices from angels? They think they're talking to their spirit.
Yeah. Well, that's one of two things. That's either coming from their programming matrix, what I call the virtual matrix in the mind that comes forward and gives them instructions, or can be satellite transmissions of ELF waves that piggyback their brain waves, and they think that it's coming from some external angelic force. Right.
And then you have the puppet programming. That's from a lot of channelers who claim they switch into another persona, and they start changing their voice and their appearance, or they start talking in a foreign language. I know somebody who does that.
Oh, there's so many out there that do that. And again, that's all programming that's coming from within their matrix. Sometimes it is triggered by satellite, sometimes cell tower. There's many different forms of triggers.
Okay, here's a question. I'm going to go to my email and look up that guy's question here. I was noticing that is California still on fire?
Yeah, it is. I think they have it contained, somewhat. But, every time there are these huge fires, without fail, they'll say that somebody started a fire by throwing a cigarette out the window or a campfire. They'll never tell the truth. They'll always blame it on someone and say, now it's a homicide issue. When in fact, it's the magma coming up from under the earth and catching the roots of the trees and plants on fire and causes these things to burn like that. Someone throwing a cigarette out the window isn't going to burn 250 square miles.
And not only that, but you notice that they never catch the person?
No, because they don't exist.
That's right. They don't exist. But they don't want to mention the magma. Are they afraid? There'll be a big panic, or?
Well, I put this on the news a couple of times that there is an area which actually was on L.A. and Santa Barbara television news. There is a section there where the ground is like 1,100 degrees. And if you dig just a few feet down, it goes up to 1,500 or 1,600 degrees. And they said it was a big anomalous area, and they didn't know why it was so hot. And the news reporter said, well, maybe there's magma coming up from underneath, and that's why it's so hot. And then, of course, the story was dropped. But they've admitted it here and there. And at first, there was that one spot in Santa Barbara area. And then, just a few months later, they found another, what they're calling hot spot, just further east of there. This stuff is coming up. The subduction zone, the Pacific plate that tilts down underneath the North American plate, as that moves and pushes, all of the magma underneath the Earth gets pushed up and out.
Right.
And in fact, it's so pervasive that last year, the USGS reported a plume of magma underneath Tucson, Arizona.
Yes.
And it's like, they said, well, we don't think it's going to come to the surface, but they didn't say it wouldn't, So that's how far the magma's been pushed. And further north, if you remember last year, all the earthquakes occurring on the Tahoe and Reno area.
Right.
And I put on my news, I said, that's coming from the magma. Well, about a month after that, they said, well, yeah, we think there's magma movement underneath the ground. That's what's causing the earthquakes.
And wasn't there some kind of thing out in the water? It was like a plume of something?
Yeah, that was another thing. That was just recently off the coast of California, and it wasn't that far off the coast. This plume of bubbles of toxic gases that was coming up from this trench area. And they had just discovered that, and they didn't know how long it had been going on. All of these things are very bad signs.
Yeah.
You know, and even the water temperature along the entire west coast, from even San Diego up to Victoria and Vancouver, has gone up 6 and 7 degrees Fahrenheit.
Oh my God.
Yeah, and the fish are gone. I have a client whose husband is a fisherman on the west coast, and she said he can't fish off the coast of California. There's no fish. They're gone. You have to go down to Mexico to find them.
That's right, because they're finding the orcas in weird places. They said the salmon isn't coming up to Alaska or something.
Yeah, because they're afraid of. I mean, these sea creatures are avoiding what's going on underneath. They're disappearing. They're going in different directions.
I don't blame them.
Yeah, and then of course you remember just a few weeks ago on the coast of Alaska, the ground, I believe it dropped quite a bit overnight, and all these people woke up in the morning and the beach was gone.
Wow.
Yeah, and then they had the nerve to say, oh, this was a reaction to a landslide that happened like thousands of years ago. Oh,
and there's something over, I think, in Oregon or maybe that area where the petrified trees suddenly appeared?
Yeah, and off the coast, because the ground just came up suddenly.
Well, their excuse was it happens periodically.
Right. Yeah, just before a major cataclysmic event. That's when that occurs. I mean, quite honestly, anybody living west of the Rockies really better watch what they're doing and look at the clues around you, because the entire west coast is under extreme tension underground, both seismically and volcanically.
Right. Oh, okay. I'm getting a lot of questions here thrown at me. Okay, here's a 2012 question.
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh. What happened?
You know what that is.
Yeah. What happened when you time traveled to You never time traveled to 2012, did
you?
No,
they get me mixed up with other people.
No. Wasn't it that guy on Coast to Coast, our favorite remote viewer?
Yeah, whose name shall not be mentioned.
We won't mention his name, but he said, I can't see beyond it. I can't see beyond it.
Well, take the blindfold off. Let me tell you something. I know someone who met with a Mayan leader just a couple of months ago. I think it was July, and in Mexico. And the Mayan guy said they all laugh, the Mayans, at this 2012 prediction. He said, the prediction for December 21st, I think it is, 2012, for everything to happen. He says, on December 22nd, he said, I'm going to wake up and make my breakfast and have coffee and watch TV like the day before. He said, it's not going to be any different. He said, that is not what the prophecies say at all.
Well, I know. That's what I keep trying to tell everybody, but they.
No, it's a government New Age propaganda to put fear, so control issues can be arranged. 2012 is about the New World Order agenda of taking control. That's by that day, they need to have global control. That's their agenda. That's what it's about.
Yeah.
It has nothing to do with anything else.
I know, and they talk about the Galactic Center. Oh, we're going to line up with the Galactic Center, and I'm trying to figure this out because I look at our solar system, which is like a spiral, and we're positioned right there on the very edge. I mean, how can you center? I don't know how.
It isn't. That's also untrue. There's nothing going to happen like that. In fact, and I put this on my news also this year. We are existing on the point of one of the spirals of this pinwheel-shaped galaxy, the Milky Way. And actually, on the point on the spiral that we exist on at that edge has intersected with the remnants of a disintegrated galaxy, an ancient galaxy that kind of fell apart, and this remnant of it has moved over into this area.
That's right, yeah.
And so that is a factor only to the fact that there's a denser energy here, and makes it more volatile in this region.
And not only that, but the center of the galaxy is 37,000 light years away. If anything happens in there, we'll be all dead anyway.
Yeah, and you know what? It's not going to be like that.
I know.
No.
Oh, here we go. We got some more questions. Oh my God.
It's my peeps, I'm telling you.
Well, some of them are my peeps too.
Well, we don't hear a peep out of them.
Well, someone said, has Stewart ever thought? I know what you're going to say to this one, but I was asking him.
Go ahead.
Stewart, has Stewart ever thought he is programmed? Well, I am too. To
Duh.
tell us all this because they are about to disclose things to us. I guess the UFO disclosure and reptilians and everything.
Now, I'm not sure I understand that question.
Have you been programmed? I don't
I
know.
been programmed?
To tell us all of this information.
Well, if anyone ever read my information or anything that I say, they would know the answer to that.
Yeah.
You know, and yes, of course I've been programmed, and I spent the last 20 years deprogramming and revealing the information that I learned in the government that was going to be revealed and has been revealed as I said it would be.
Yeah, well, I think that a lot of people feel disclosure is coming.
Well, that's another buzzword, and the disclosure is not going to be the real information. It's going to be a disinformation sandwich where there'll be some lies mixed in with it and some truths that people will hang on to, and they'll think, well, if that's true, the rest of it must be true.
Yeah, because, you know, so what? The UK and Ireland and Canada and France have released all these UFO. First of all, it's all crap stuff.
Well, yeah.
But, you know,
and it's not the whole story. It's all blacked out.
Yeah.
You know?
So disclosure, I can't see them doing it. I can't.
No.
You know, they got all these petitions going to Obama, and they think Obama's going to be the president who's going to say, yes, ET's here, and we made contact with them, and we got all this UFO technology from them. And
Obama is the president who was set up to finally dismantle the U.S. That's his job, and he's doing a good one.
Yeah, if you read his Obamacare, oh my God.
I mean, that's just the tip of the iceberg.
And then he's going to give a speech to all the school children next week. Isn't that 15 minutes? And people are like saying, what is this? You know, they do this in communist countries.
That's correct. That's absolutely correct.
I was reading that in AOL News. People were very upset about that, these civic unions.
Well, fortunately, there are some schools that are not going to carry that speech. And I think that it's absolutely unnecessary. I am looking forward to seeing the wording of it because I am sure that a lot of the wording is trigger speech in there and code words that he'll use. So I'm looking forward to seeing what he says.
Yeah, that would be interesting. I'll have to tell my niece to close their ears.
Well, everyone's staying violet, you know. Look, we hear these kind of things every day. It doesn't matter that he's going to go on. You know, it doesn't matter. Just stay in violet, use brown merger symbol at your pineal gland, and you won't be affected by it.
That's right. Let me see. I think my peeps don't know what the brown merger symbol is.
Well, you better start teaching them.
Well, I do, but I can't show photographs on my website.
Well,
it's like it looks like this and it looks like this. And
well, they need to go on my website and look it up. It's right on there.
Yes, go to expansions.com and find that merger symbol there. And it's in brown. And keep it at your pineal gland whenever you feel, you know, at that moment you don't feel like yourself. Oh, here we go. Here's another question. Okay, this is from Man in the Mirror. Man in the Mirror, isn't that a Michael Jackson song?
Yes, you know, that's funny. I was thinking about that one today.
Oh, and I was thinking of a Michael Jackson song too, and I never do. Okay, Stewart, did you see the new Hollywood movie with Nicolas Cage called The Transmission? I never heard of that one.
No.
Where the crystal people, ETs, were introduced as the savior race, did they look exactly like you described in your blue book? They must be talking about the clear people.
Yeah. I don't go to movies, and the only time I ever see them is if they're on an airplane.
Oh, no.
So
you don't
I guess
have a DVD?
eventually.
You don't rent? You don't get Netflix?
No, I don't no time for that. No. I don't ever watch television, and I don't go to movies, and no. So eventually I'll probably see it on a plane somewhere.
I don't know if it's children's. Well, I think it might be R-rated. Here's another question, and I keep trying to explain this to folks also, but about astral projection. And why is astral projection so dangerous?
Well, as I mentioned just before, that's the area, the levels where the government uses their technology to transmit all kinds of things to you. Plus, even besides government problems there are entities on those lower levels that would love to do some damage to you. So no, it is not a good thing to do. I think you need to bypass that, go right into hyperspace level.
And I try to explain it to them, and people say, but I see Archangel Michael there.
Well, I'm sure you do, because it's a programming function. I'm sure you see Jesus as well.
Okay, here's a... let me just check on the time, because I know I talked your ear off. Okay, we still have time. Okay. Where is that question? Okay, all right, we went past one. Why is the event coming? What is the event? I have to add the words in there. What is the event coming that no human can realize at the moment, and this information can only be revealed in certain parts in India, Tibet, or something?
Antarctica.
Oh, Antarctica.
Well, if I can only reveal it there, why will I do it on this show?
I know,
That's
right.
I
know, you're such a tease.
I said quite blatantly on my site, and I'm not trying to play games. It's just the way it is. That there's information that will only be gained in certain locations, and until that time, I cannot tell you what that is. So I'm very sorry, but I would strongly welcome all of you to come with me to Tibet next month. There's still room left on the group tours, and on to Antarctica, and come along, and you will find everything out when we do.
Now, when you're in Antarctica, will you get a chance to go out on the ice?
Absolutely.
with the penguins?
Well, yeah, we're not going to disguise ourselves as penguins, though. But we will be on land and doing some work there and connecting to things which I cannot discuss until we get there.
No, that sounds so interesting. That is such a cool place to go.
Cool is the right word there.
Yeah, I know.
Although we're going in the summertime of Antarctica, even though it's wintertime in the north.
So we're talking maybe 20 degrees below zero instead of 50.
Well, supposedly 22 to 32 Fahrenheit.
Oh, okay, it's not too bad.
No.
That's not too bad.
Imagine we have to go all the way to Antarctica to warm up.
Yeah, that's right.
Farmer's Almanac is predicting a very bad winter.
I saw that. I saw that for next year. They're going to say it's going to be very harsh.
Yes, and that's just the beginning.
So let Al Gore put that in his global warming pipe and smoke it.
I'd like him to come here in the wintertime.
I tell you.
Okay. Well, we had the coldest July on record.
Yeah, we found. You live in Michigan, so it's a little cooler there. But here in New York City, it was. I have to. It has to be pretty hot for me to wear a tank top and shorts. So, I think in August we had maybe a week of hot, humid weather where I actually turned on the air conditioner. And that was it. And I bought these new sandals, and I didn't even have a chance to wear them.
No, it hasn't been hot here at all.
No.
The whole summer we didn't have summer.
Oh, okay. He corrected himself on the name of that movie. It was called Knowing. Okay, that movie I saw. It was Knowing, and that was one of those end times films where the world is about to come to the end. That the sun was going to blast the earth into a big cinder, and Nicolas Cage's little boy was seeing angels, and they take the children to outer space.
I heard of that movie, but I did not see it.
And there was a time capsule. Oh, yeah, that's right. We never got time to talk about time travel. Anyway, time capsule that was put in the ground in 1950, and it made all these predictions, and it came true. So, I don't know. But you didn't see the movie, so.
No.
Okay, and of course, everybody wants to know what is currently going on in the Kuiper's Belt.
You know, you're asking me questions, people, that I told you I cannot say certain things publicly.
Oh, okay.
But I can tell you that what is going on out there is enough to scare the Illuminati into making very fast and abrupt changes in events. So things are speeding up. Yeah,
and talking about outer space, did you hear recently that NASA says that they've run out of money to protect us from asteroids?
I didn't know they had any to begin with.
Well, apparently, I think about 30 years ago, Congress asked NASA to track asteroids, and NASA says there's 20,000 of them, comets and asteroids out there, but we can only see a third of them. And we need a bigger telescope, and Congress won't give us the money for a bigger telescope.
Yeah, well, they have telescope envy, I imagine.
Telescope envy.
Yeah. I'll tell you what. If the Earth really was in danger the way they said, we wouldn't be here now, because so many things would have happened already that the Earth would have been blasted by now.
Oh, here's another thing, too, that reminds you. Maybe you didn't hear this. In November, this might be related to the Kuiper's Belt, too. In November, the CERN's collider is going to attempt to try and turn it back on again. And I wrote something down here. Oh, damn, where did I put it? I can't even read my notes. And my cat was chewing my notes.
Must be an alien spy, your cat.
Well, that's what they were used for, right?
Yeah, right.
Oh, here we go. In the New York Times, they stated that many of the magnets mysteriously lost their ability to operate at high energies. But we know. We know who did that. We do, and that is Kuiper Belt sabotage. Yeah. And what else? Oh, darn. Anything else you want to talk about? I'm trying to look at my notes here. Well, I would advise everybody, and I know it might go against everything they've heard, do not take any flu shot vaccination. We all know that, yeah. It contains highly dangerous materials that will damage your brain and your nervous system. Yes. You're better off getting the flu than the vaccination. Because some of it causes that Barr syndrome thing. And it contains squalene, which, even though is a natural forming agent in the body, it goes to the digestive system where it gets readapted. But in the inoculation, it goes directly into your bloodstream, and it becomes an irritant and an inflammatory agent to your nervous system, and very damaging. Yeah, every year my mother's elderly. She always gets the flu shot. I know she's going to. Every year I beg her, please don't do that, but I know she'll go and get it. Yeah, it's very bad. I know. Here's another question. Anthea, why are the visitors transparent? But also, why is it aliens never have any clothes? Well, things are expensive out in space. They were talking on one of the other shows about down in Mexico, they caught a baby alien of all things. Did you see that video?
No.
And Whitley Strieber swears it's not a hoax, it's real. And it looks like a demon. That's what it looks like.
And when was this?
Oh, when was it, guys? Anybody know? I think it was a couple weeks ago.
No, I was out of the country, so I didn't hear anything about that.
Yeah, it looks...
But I really doubt that happened. And just like that chupacabra thing that they found in Texas,
right,
that they're putting on there, that's not a chupacabra.
No, that's
some kind of other genetic mutation, but it is not a chupacabra.
It's just one nasty-looking dog.
But you see, the news, like CNN and AOL, they're using that word chupacabra because it's a trigger.
It's a
for
trigger
something.
word. Mm-hmm.
And that's why they're putting it out there.
Okay, here's another question, Stewart. Is there any truth to all we hear about a dimensional shift?
No.
Okay. What is a dimensional shift?
Well, you could take that word shift and drop the F.
Okay.
And that's basically what that is.
Yeah, because everyone talks about going into the fifth density. I don't even know what that means.
Look, there's really no such thing. Look, there are many, many dimensions, many realities. There's infinite, okay? You can go to any of them at any time. There's no special shift time or, we're going to go to the 88th dimension. No. That's just programming, new age crapola,
right.
to make you think you're going to ascend to some higher level.
That's right.
It's up to each one of you at any moment. There's no special time when that can happen.
Yeah, because I think with the Delta T exercise or something, right? Can't you go into like alternate universe?
Yeah, infinitely.
Infinitely. You can do it right now. You're right.
Exactly. That's what I teach in my work. But doing it from a perspective of your own oversoul, so that you can merge and blend in with better aspects of yourself, to make yourself stronger in this reality.
That's right. Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I have another question. Any advice for the coming days and years from Stewart?
That's what all my work is about. Please, people, read my website. Read my books. This is what I'm telling you. You need to get rid of the victimization. You need to do deprogramming. You need to do protection techniques. This is what I've been teaching you. Hyperspace work, that's what you should be doing.
Mm-hmm.
Don't focus on what's going on out there in the world about what diseases they're saying are around or who's going to blow up the planet. That's all a bunch of baloney. Okay? That's the diversion to scare you, because when you're scared, it opens you up for input of programming. So don't fall for that. Go within yourself, fix yourself up, and if you have only positive, wonderful thoughts, that is what you'll project out into the world, and that's what you will experience. And if we all do that, we can literally change the world for the better.
That's right.
And that's what we should be doing.
I agree with you. Instead of sending out it's here, send out love and light. I always hear that. We need to send out love and light to our leaders, but they may not. Want. But they may not accept it.
Of course not, because that's not what they're about.
That's right.
You can't impose that on someone else because you think it's a good thing.
That's
you can
right.
only do that for yourself.
Mm-hmm. Okay, here's a question, Stewart. If one goes back into time, is it at all possible to return to the exact same timeline?
Well, that's an interesting question, and the answer is there are already infinite timelines. Everything that you can imagine exists somewhere. So theoretically, you cannot change anything because it already is somewhere. You understand?
Mm-hmm.
So when you go back in time, you're not supposed to interfere with anything. If you do, you will automatically be focused on an alternate timeline where that has occurred. So no, you would not return to your original timeline because you've altered your perception.
You're familiar with the Terminator show?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, that was a movie, wasn't it?
The movie.
Yeah.
Well, the movie and also a TV series for about 2 seasons.
Well, TV series, I don't know.
But if the guy comes back from the future and impregnates a woman, and she has the baby, and he grows up, and he's gonna. So he's trying to change the future so that the future doesn't happen. Would he still exist? Because then there would be no reason for that guy to come from the future to the past to impregnate, that woman.
Okay, everybody, it's a movie.
It's a movie, okay.
Someone wrote a script for a movie. Do not take it so seriously, but if you look at that, as I just said, everything happens. So you're really not changing anything. You're just focusing on another alternative reality. So you're really not altering it at all.
Right.
You're just moving into that timeline.
Yeah, it's sort of like the story of Oedipus Rex when the psychic tells him this is going to happen. So Oedipus Rex does everything he possibly can so it doesn't happen. And what do you think happens? It happens.
Yeah, I mean, everything happens somewhere. You cannot change it. And that's another thing, because there is no divine interference because of that. People pray for God to interfere. It doesn't work that way because everything happens in God's mind. And so there's no reason to change anything because everything happens somewhere.
That's true. That's why you have to be careful what you think about.
Yes. Like the great Gatsby said, be careful what you wish for. You might get it.
You might get it.
In fact, you will get it somewhere.
I don't know what this is. All these questions are coming in. I think we only have 7 minutes left, but we might have time. What kind of riff machine, R-I-F-E, riff machine?
A rife machine.
Rife machine Stewart uses. I didn't know you used that.
Well, I personally don't have one, but I have a practitioner not far away who's an excellent rife technician, and works in a superb way. And the problem with rife machine, of course, rife technology is really illegal in U.S.
Oh.
And so the machines come from elsewhere. But you really need to know what you're doing because it's a frequency generator.
Right.
And if you make a mistake or you put the wrong program in, you can hurt somebody.
Right. This is not radionics, is it?
No, it's different than radionics. It's similar technology but different approach. Rife, if you have an illness and the illness has a particular frequency, what Rife machines does is it sends into the body the reciprocal frequency to neutralize the illness.
Oh.
Yeah, okay. And then you need to put in benevolent or healing energy to fix whatever you have, whereas radionics targets a person, place, or thing with a frequency to affect it in some way.
And it's one with pads or only electromagnetic fields, and he wants to know what range of frequency it uses.
Well, that's too much for this show.
Yeah, okay.
You need to see charts, and it's quite complex.
Yeah, we need to demonstrate it too, I guess.
Yes, but you can't really do that publicly.
Yeah, that's true. Stewart, have you ever combined sea serpent? Is there a sea serpent archetype symbol that I don't know about?
Yeah, it's on my site. You need to read my site too, Missy.
I do, but I know about the white-winged dragon and the white-winged lion, but I didn't know anything about a sea serpent.
It's a form. It's a derivation of the white-winged dragon frequency.
Oh, okay. So have you ever combined the whole three, sea serpent, white-winged dragon, and white-winged lion together?
Where do these people come from?
Well, his name is Lunatic.
Well, you could. It can't hurt you. But no, I haven't personally done it. I think no need for me to do that one.
Oh, okay. It might be too much, too. Okay, has Stewart ever heard of Roy Masters? I've never heard of that.
No, what is it?
I don't know. I never heard of him.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, let me see. I'll just check on the time. We have 4 minutes? Okay. All right, let me look at this. Okay, this person sent me a question, and, okay. A good friend of mine is working very closely with several of the largest Indian nations in the Utah and Four Corners area And they are saying very clearly that this fall, they explicitly state Thanksgiving time that there will be a cleansing in America. Have you heard anything along these lines, and can you speak to these prophecies?
Yeah, okay. I've heard this for the last 20 years, okay, and nothing's ever happened that way. Cleansing from the American Indian perspective is not such a wonderful thing because it involves destruction.
Right.
And then it can be rebuilt. So I think, that is happening anyway. As far as the United States is concerned, just go on the USGS.gov earthquake maps, and you'll see what's going on. 400 earthquakes per week in California.
Wow.
That's very strange. Earthquakes occurring, South Carolina, New Hampshire, Tennessee, Missouri, all over, and you can see that they're getting stronger and more frequent. And so, yes, the Earth is doing something. Will it be at Thanksgiving time? I don't know, but I know that it's building exponentially, and that ultimately the West Coast is in a lot of trouble.
Yeah, that's what it looks like. Well, I had a dream of snow the other night. That's about cleansing, isn't it?
Yes, it is. It can also be about frozen emotions.
Oh, wasn't a lot of snow.
Well, now, don't you justify it.
Okay, here's the second question. Evidence supporting the hollow earth theory is overwhelming, but access appears to be restricted, particularly in the last few decades. What do you believe is the best, most appropriate way to make contact with any of the inner earth inhabitants, including those at Mount Shasta? But Mount Shasta is a government thing, isn't it?
Why would you want to do that? I think that the ones that live under the earth are not so nice, and why would you want to connect with that? That's my opinion.
Yeah. Okay, we're down to 1 minute, and...
Oh,
no, Stewart, no. There's so many things we could talk about.
I feel like I'm on a game show, and I have to give the right answer soon.
You gave all the right answers. You'll have to come back again.
Okay.
This is fun. And, you have your trip going to south of France next year?
Yeah, in June.
What was that thing I read on your Q&A about some invisible thing over the cars that was making the trees sway?
Oh, well, the last time we were in France, as we passed Bucarac Mountain, there was a strange energy pulse that made the waves of grass and crops move in very strange direction, and there was no wind.
Really?
It was weird. It was really weird.
And you were saying that there's a connection with Egypt and Tibet or something, or outer space?
Yeah, well, there's underground energies, and each of those places have different manifestations, but it all involves the energy centers in the earth. And unfortunately, a lot of those places are used by the government because of that. Oh. But I really urge any of you who have the ability to come with me next month to India and Tibet, you really should do so because you'll never forget it. It'll be life-changing.
I know. And then, of course, you have some lectures, seminars coming up?
Yes, our conference on Columbus Day weekend in October here in Michigan. It's right on my website, expansions.com, all the detail. We're going to do paranormal information. It's going to be incredible. I'm even excited about it.
I know, but everyone wants you to stay, but you can't really. The last 30 minutes is going to be something else because Stewart's going to only be with us for an hour. Everybody wants you to stay.
Yeah, I know. But you know what? Always leave them wanting more.
That's what I say. That's what I always say. And then don't forget November in New Jersey because I want to come to that one.
Oh, yes. We're doing the East Coast version of the Paranormal Conference.
That's correct. And that'll be on Paranormal and the Mafia.
Yeah. Yes, that was
how did that
my little New Jersey joke.
Oh, it was a New Jersey joke. Okay.
You did, well, yeah.
I believed it. I'm like, wow, oh my God.
Well, that's funny.
Okay.
And then, of course, January is Antarctica. You know, you don't want to miss that one. It's once in a lifetime.
That's right. And the south of France, so we can see the invisible pulse coming over our heads. And
among other things.
Among other things, and the Madeleine and everything.
Yeah.
And also go to Stewart's website. That's expansions.com. I always plug it every week on my show.
Thank you.
And on my page there, you'll see two of Stewart's book, Blue Blood, True Blood, and Montauk, The Alien Connection, for more information. And maybe one day, when Stewart isn't so busy, we'll get on the show again.
I would love to.
And then you have your radio show starting in January.
Yeah,
February. You'll be having guests on that show?
Of course.
Oh, excellent.
Maybe you'll be a guest.
Oh, that would be great.
To talk about your experiences.
Yeah, okay.
And we're going to launch it, actually, with Sonia Barrett on the 22nd of this month.
And that will be on Blog Talk Radio?
I believe so.
I think so, too. That's good.
Yes.
This place is getting popular.
Yeah.
And there's like 1 billion people in the chat room. You can't, it's amazing.
Well, I'm glad that they're all interested.
Yes, I'm glad, too.
And I appreciate all of you, and I'm sorry I didn't get to all your questions, but I will eventually.
That's right. That's right. Oh. So there's people calling now. You know, these last-minute people. Okay, I'm going to let you go, Stewart.
Well, thank you. Thank you, Anthea, and it's been a pleasure.
It was it's my pleasure.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much, Stewart.
Right. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.